but I will leave my remarks at that at this stage.
My Lords, I rise to speak particularly to my amendment 9 in this group, and I thank the Noble Lord Teverson for his expression of support with that, and I very much agree that climate change means that we can't be building new roads, although of course there's also big issues of air pollution which are also addressed in this group. But I will have to begin, since I don't get the chance to do it very often, by commending the government on its amendment on energy efficiency, and I think it's a demonstration of our debate in committee from all around the House, and indeed the sentiment in the country, and one more demonstration that campaigning really does work, and let's see lots more of it. I essentially agree with everything both the Noble Baroness Lady Hayman and the Noble Lord Teverson have already said, so I won't repeat all of those, but I think the importance of biodiversity, the state of nature, is something we are increasingly hearing from the government, and indeed I had the pleasure recently, the last time before I was in this House, at being at the Groundswell Regenerative Agriculture event, where we heard both noble lords from the government, from this House and the other place, expressing their concern and the importance they would put on restoring nature. So surely the Infrastructure Bank should be explicitly directed to do that. And I think, as the Noble Baroness Lady Hayman said, we're talking about a message to the bank, we're talking about a message to the country about the importance of biodiversity and nature. But I think we can also look on the international stage and at the fact that at the moment we're seeing reports of grave concern about the state of the COP15 biodiversity talks, and are screaming out from the entire nature community about the need for leadership in those COP15 talks. And clearly, as the chair of COP26, it should be our responsibility to be leading the way. And if indeed, as the Noble Lady Baroness Hayman said, the government says, oh, we already mean this anyway, then what's the harm of putting it on the face of the bill and sending that message out to the international community as well as to the country? I just want to comment on the circular economy amendment. I actually had in committee an amendment that called for a reduction in resource use. In the interests of efficiency and time, given I wasn't getting many positive signals from the government, I didn't table this again this time, but I think it's something that the government will come back and at least make some progress on this, an explicit support for a circular economy, which is a necessary but not a sufficient condition, given we continue to treat the planet as a mine and a dumping ground, is really essential to see some progress, or I think we'll certainly see pushing in the other place on the question of resource use. So I come finally specifically to my Amendment 9, and this is a modest little amendment, and I think perhaps it's worth being clear about what I mean by this. I think, and I'm very happy if the government wants to look at a different terminology, but what I mean by roads is a major stretch of roadway. I don't mean a track up to a new onshore wind farm, from which we're finally seeing, I think, signals certainly in the media of government enthusiasm for onshore wind farms, which is greatly encouraging. If the government wishes to find another way of getting at this in terms of wording, what I clearly mean is major road infrastructure. Because, as the Noble Lord Teverson said, the climate emergency doesn't allow that. But also, and this is where this crosses over with the clean air amendments in this group, and indeed this crosses over with issues of disadvantage that we're going to get in the next group. Broadly speaking, air quality issues are worst in the poorest areas, most disadvantaged areas of the country, and new roads are the last thing those areas need to actually make air quality even worse. So to say the Infrastructure Bank is not for roads but it is for mass transport, I would have thought should be considered to be uncontroversial. So it's not my intention to move this to a vote, but I think this is a debate that will continue in the other place. But I commend all of these amendments to your Lordship's House.